You are looking at my first attempt at building a realistic, defensible castle in Conan Exiles. Realistic in that it should be architecturally sound, all areas should be accessible by walking, its layout should offer defensive advantages, and the walls need to be thick enough and high enough to withstand siege equipment. It took me about a day and a half to build and was inspired by a YouTuber called Shad and his video series on castle design on his Shadiversity channel. Link in the description below. I highly suggest checking him out if you're interested in historical castles, sword fighting, etc. An important aspect of every castle is its location. It has to be strategic, and if possible, it should use natural terrain to enhance the defensiveness of its position. The location I chose is quite central for the Conan Exiles universe, in the middle of the desert near a lot of landmarks and on the crossroads between many of the larger settlements. It is close to a river, though there is no direct access to it. The fortress is supplied by water via wells. The castle is built on a big plateau with steep vertical slopes on most sides and only 3 small areas from which a person can reach the plateau without climbing. It is naturally very defensible, and due to the high vertical cliffs some areas require walls of minimal height to defend properly. As you all note, on such sections the wall is a mere 3 meters tall. For comparison, the wall is 7 to 8 meters high on average, with the highest towers reaching 25 meters. The castle has approximate dimensions of 130 meters by 40 meters, which for our American friends is 460 feet by 130 feet. An unexpected hurdle was encountered on one side of the plateau. The game would not allow me to build there due to the proximity of a nearby NPC camp. I had to scrap my plans for a castle covering the whole cliff due to this on one side, and to concerns that the game might not be able to support such a huge structure on the other. But the enclosed space is still large enough. I chose to build the castle using the most advanced materials available in the game, black ice reinforced structures, since they look cool and also offer the full range of possible building elements, for example crenellated walls. I was limited by the available elements, with stairs being one of the biggest hurdles, lack of meticulations, murder holes, arrow loops and others, but I'm fairly happy with the overall result despite that. You're currently looking at one of the largest towers in the castle and its adjacent walls and stairs. In terms of layout, the castle is highly fragmented. There are a total of 12 sections, most of which are only accessible through a single door and do not have direct access to neighboring segments. This makes it so that even if a part of the wall or a certain tower gets captured, the castle as a whole still has a fighting chance. The layout around the main gatehouses resembles a labyrinth to further confuse attackers who might have gained access to a part of the fortifications. Reaching any given wall section requires going through at least one heavily fortified door, while getting to most towers and gatehouses requires that you go through 2 or 3 solid, defensible doors. The walls follow the terrain and have multiple towers and bastions on them, with a high concentration near the most vulnerable spots, again based on the terrain. I chose bastions where the wall is high enough already and the tower is not needed to control the surrounding wall sections. There are 3 ways to enter the castle: through one of the 2 main gates, opposite to each other, or through the Sullyport, which itself is a small gatehouse. Each of the 2 main gateways has a drawbridge and several gatehouses one must go through. Here I'm walking through the main gate. I need to deal with defenders on the 2 flanking towers, go through a drawbridge and a solid gate with siege cauldrons with hot tar ready to be poured on top of anyone who is tasked with trying to break the gate. The cauldrons and defenders are protected by hatches that can be opened and closed on demand. This is the closest to murder holes I could get to. Even if this defense is overcome, attackers end up in a small courtyard which is basically a dead zone with defenders on top of walls on each side. The attackers would then need to break through a second gatehouse, defended similarly to this first one. Due to the inclination, it will be difficult to bring siege equipment in. This is what the gatehouse looks from the inside, and also a quick view of the first bailey. The defenders of the 2 gatehouses are accessed through separate wall sections and gates, so even if attackers somehow gain control of the first gatehouse, the second gatehouse will remain as a separate obstacle. This was the way to the second gatehouse of the main gate, And now let's see how to get to the first one. It's through a separate door to the right, then straight up and through another door. And now you've reached the first set of ramparts. As you can see, they're totally separate from the rest. There is also a small tower, mostly looking internally, and also to the internal gatehouse, about which we'll talk a little bit more in a second. And there is also this cute little room with some windows which is almost as narrow as arrow slits. And through one more door, and we're finally there, looking right over the main bridge. As I said, the stairs in this game are not great. There should be a way to put a stair in this that's better than what I have, but unfortunately. Here again we have the hatches, closest to murder holes as I was able to get them. The defenders have a nice field of view and can fire directly onto people who are trying to breach the main gates. The other gateway is excellently defended by two flanking towers and a third tower to the left. We have a similar gatehouse with murder holes and cauldrons loaded with hot tar. If somehow attackers break through the gatehouse, they are in a dead yard surrounded by defenders. The approach to the second gate makes a 90-degree turn to make it hard for siege equipment to be maneuvered into position. I would have made the approach narrower, but the gates are fixed size, so I couldn't. The second gate does not feature a gatehouse, but there are two cauldrons on the side that will help in defending it. There is a third yard between the second gate and the third set of gates, which one needs to break through to reach the courtyard. And now I'm gonna show you around how to get to the gatehouses of the second gate. They are accessed through this door to the left, from where you can reach the third gate, set of gates, and look at the second yard between the gatehouses. Then you can also reach the second gate here. You can see the excellent field of view that archers have here as well. And to reach the main gatehouse, you need to pass through yet another door. These are, of course, the towers that control access through this side of the fortress, and this mountain ridge that I'm looking at, it doesn't really offer any advantages to the attackers, since it's very steep on the other side. It's literally unclimbable. Now this is one of the flanking towers. Again, excellent field of view for any kind of archers towards the drawbridge and anyone trying to assault it. Now here we can see some sections of the wall and one of the other towers. Now to actually go to the lower ramparts, you need to go through this gate. From here you can control the first yard. And to actually exit this part of the gatehouse defenses, you need to go past yet another gate. And this is one of the towers which is defending that gate from both sides. The third and final way to enter the castle is through the Sullyport. This is where I couldn't build due to the barbarians camp, but look at the path one needs to take to reach the Sullyport anyways. Even so, it is not a single gate but a small gatehouse complete with a murder hole and a hot tar cauldron. Even if you were to break through the gate, look at the roundabout way to reach the defenders on top of it. Now, if you were to overcome the defenses in one or more of the gatehouses, you would still not have complete control over the castle. Internally, it is divided in two baileys and the small courtyard of the keep. By breaching the gatehouses, you only have control of one of the baileys. To reach the other one, you will need to fight through two tower-defended wall sections, or through an internal small gatehouse. Indeed, the walls are not so formidable as the exterior ones, but they will be a challenge and provide any defenders with a definite advantage. The area around the doors is a dead zone by design. If you somehow reach the second bailey, now you have to enter the keep itself. This can happen through a small, properly defended door. Once through it, you are in the keep bailey, another dead zone, and you are now faced with one more set of doors to breach through. Note that getting into the bailey does not give you access to any of its surrounding walls, meaning that defenders can just fire down on you unless you can bring in stairs to try climb the walls. The throne room is fairly simple, with a high roof supported by pillars. Through it, you can access the lower keep defenses, as well as a small balcony with a magnificent view towards the exiled lands. Here is the defender's view toward the keep bailey. Access to the upper keep defenses happens through a separate door, as I am showing right now. The highest tower in the castle is that of the keep, and we have a magnificent view from it. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the result, and had the game offered proper crenellations, meticulations and murder holes, I believe it would have been a great medieval castle. Still, given the time era in which the events are set, I might be asking for things that have not yet been invented. Let me know if you like the castle by leaving a like, and if you have any suggestions or comments, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'll leave you with this glorious night overview of the castle.